Starfield, the game that we are all waiting for. Unfortunately, it's still around 135 days away from when this video will go live, which means we still have a long while to wait until we can finally get our hands on it and dive in. So today, I thought that we could go over 5 space games that you can dive into right now while you wait for Starfield. The Steam page for every single one of these games will be linked in the description below, and if you have any questions about these games, please do feel free to comment and I will try and reply to absolutely everyone to help you decide if you should get one of these games or not. There will also be a tiny little pop-up on the screen if these games are available on Xbox Game Pass, so that members of Game Pass are sure not to waste any extra money buying them. With that said, let's not waste any more time, drop the video a like for me and please do consider subscribing if you would be so kind, and let's get straight to the point. Chorus isn't perfect by any means of the imagination, but it is ridiculously fun and has a very interesting and powerful story. You play as Nora, a number 1 pilot with a, let's say, sketchy past. You and your sentient starfighter Forsaken have to work together to defeat an oppressive cult group known as the Circle, led by the Great Prophet, who wants nothing more than to dominate the entire universe. And yeah, I admit the description of this game sounds very generic, but actually it's quite unique in itself. Chorus was a pleasant surprise for me back when it released in 2021, and I was particularly taken back by the combat in the game. It's definitely worth checking out if you haven't played it already. I know, you've already played The Outer Worlds, or at least you probably have if you're watching this video, but I had to mention it. The Outer Worlds is probably the game on this list that is the most like Starfield, although they are still very different. The Outer Worlds was basically Obsidian's attempt at creating their own Fallout-like franchise, and while I did enjoy this game, I can't lie, it did leave me a little disappointed. However, with that being said, it is a great game and a great time killer, especially if you haven't played it before. The Outer Worlds is a great RPG for the most part, filled with multiple choices, different endings, character creation, really cool and unique weapons, although the combat could honestly use some work, a okay story, but amazing companions, all set in the year 2355, all based in a small 6-planet star system. I do want to note here that there is the Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition, which is the new version of the game. It's newly released, and basically a remaster, an upgraded version of the game if you will. However, you should avoid getting Spacer's Choice Edition, as the game is currently having a lot of problems and actually runs and looks worse than the original game, so just stick to the original. The Dead Space remake is simply a retelling of the original game, which released in 2008. In this third-person survival horror game, you'll take the role of Isaac, who in the year 2508 is a part of a crew assigned to help get a spaceship up and running again. And sure, it's been 15 years since the original game released, but thanks to this remake, you honestly can't tell. While the game is kind of short, clocking in at only 12 to 25 hours depending on how much you want to explore, it is a fantastic game with amazing combat, a brilliant story, dismemberment, and so many other highlights. The remake released only in January of this year, and so far the Dead Space remake is honestly my favourite game of the year. When it comes to Mass Effect, I'm not talking about one particular game, but rather the entire franchise. The original Mass Effect trilogy is nothing short of a massive success, and a rare, almost perfect set of games. The narrative, voice acting, world building, characters, player choice, and so much more is just remarkable. Mass Effect is definitely a series you should be playing if you never have. The Mass Effect games are action role-playing games, where you can customize your version of the game's main character, Shepard. Everything from regular customization to even character classes. You'll choose one of 6 classes and then you'll explore planets, get into some fun combat, and so much more. It's difficult to describe 3 games in one without giving away all of the spoilers, so just go and check this series out for yourselves. You won't regret it. And finally we have The Outer Wilds, not to be confused with The Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is an action-adventure game, where you will explore a solar system stuck in a 22-minute time loop that ends with the star going supernova, before returning back to the first second of the 22-minute loop. It's up to you to go out and explore and try and figure out why this is happening, uncovering secrets of an extinct race who previously colonised this solar system over 100,000 years ago. The main focus of Outer Wilds without a doubt is the exploration, with you, the player, being compelled to uncover the remains of this alien civilization, to find the cause of the time loop and eventually complete the game, with locations and events changing around you during the course of this time loop, which means things such as areas and puzzles are only accessible at certain times. This really is a fantastic game and I highly recommend it to all of you. But that is it for the list. I hope that you all found at least one of these games worthwhile and worth checking out. Again, if you have any questions about any of these games, I am only one comment away and I will try my hardest to reply. If you enjoyed the video, I kindly ask that you leave it a like as it really does help me out more than you could imagine. And if you're interested in almost daily Starfield content, consider subscribing as I cover a cluster of Starfield discussions here on the channel. Lastly, a big shout out to our channel members and their monthly support. I couldn't do this without you guys, and it really means more than you'll ever know. With that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one.